Welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a best-of-5 series of Terran versus Terran, which just so happens to be the grand finals of the ESL Open Cup number 71 Europe. Or the ESL Open Cup Europe number 71. I can never forget the order of things. Anyways, this particular event, the European version of it, by fans was called the Big Gabe Weekly for a little while. And that's because of the Terran player spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner of Lightshade. That's map number 1 in this best-of-5 series. From Germany with the red SCVs, we have HeroMarine. And it was called the Big Gabe Weekly because HeroMarine was winning pretty much every single one of them. So he has now won 27 in total. Here's the problem, though, for HeroMarine at the very least, not for us, but for HeroMarine. His opponents started signing up for this particular tournament pretty much every single week as well, and he has now won 25 of them. So, I mean, maybe rather than, like, going with the Big Gabe Weekly, how do you say weekly in French? Weekly in French. How do you say this?
Hebdomadaire.
All right, thank you, Google.
Hebdomadaire.
Hebdomadaire. I suggest we call it the Clement Hebdomadaire from here on out. Well, not yet. He's won 25 of them right now, but he goes, of course, by the name of Clem. It's pretty nuts, though. I don't really know exactly when Clem has been winning these. I mean, you can probably find stats on them if you look at the Wikipedia page, but I'm a little bit too lazy to look into the specifics. But I think recently, over probably the last couple of dozen of these, I can imagine Clem has won more of them than HeroMarine. And I wouldn't be surprised, at least with the way that Clem has been playing recently. I mean, I've been fanboying over this man plenty over the last couple of casts. But the way that the guy is playing right now, it's kind of nuts. He's getting ridiculously good at StarCraft, and yeah, wouldn't be surprised at all if he's going to be winning quite a few going forward as well, assuming he will continue signing up for these as well. Actually, I'm pretty sure he will. Fun announcement. I mean, this was announced during a recent StarCraft event. For those of you that don't follow, yeah, for example, on Twitch, or you didn't see my tweet about it or anything along those lines, they recently announced that Shopify is actually sponsoring a bunch of the StarCraft 2 Pro Tour, and that includes the ESL Open Cup. So currently, the weekly events, I think they have $400 in prize pool per region. So there's one for Europe, there's one for North America, and then there's one for Korea as well, or I guess Asia. However, it's being doubled to $800 per region per week. So yeah, Shopify basically has doubled the prize pool, which is really cool. I think that's actually... So this is the grand finals of number 71. I think it's actually starting with 72, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, rather than just doubling the prize pool straight up, by the way, this is pretty cool as well. Currently, the prize pool for it is $200 for the first place prize, but it's going to be $250. And then the second place prize used to be $100, and that one's going to be $150. However, they're also going to start paying out people that make it to the 5th to 8th places of these weekly events as well. And obviously, all of this is done just to encourage more and more signups, because it's a blast. I'm a big fan of these weekly events. Anyways, here we go. Nice grenade right over there. We see the Hellion and Reaper hit squad. Who can get the first hit in? Who can line up the units better? Who can actually get some good grenade shots in? Well, so far, I think it's going to be Clem that will need to run. Yeah, good lineup there as well by HeroMarine. Generally speaking, I don't really see these sort of pushes doing too much at this level. But you can imagine, right? With a little bit of miscontrol, you can still definitely lose the game. If you accidentally mess it up. Those grenades and units in general, they just deal so much damage. Yeah, in the end, it's pretty much the exact same result. In the end, it doesn't even matter. Do we want to start calling it the... What was it? Dude, that's a difficult word.
Hebdomadaire.
Hebdomadaire? I really hope I'm not saying anything bad. I had French in school for like, I want to say 3-4 years or so. And interestingly enough, actually, in school, I was considered to be not particularly good at languages. And I say that as someone who's speaking English right now, which is not my native language. But I wasn't particularly great at languages. And I don't remember what the French word for weekly was. But I'm assuming Google is not, you know, roasting me, right? Like, that would be... I'm going to upload this to YouTube, which is literally a Google service. And I... No, that would be... Please don't demonetize my video for using Google Translate, Google. Thank you. Love you. Nice grenado right there. But sadly, the Reaper has to pay for it with its life. There's already plenty of units available here as well for Clem, though. And you can see right now, I mean, this is basically an identical game. We're 5 minutes into it. I mean, there's a couple of deviations here and there, but for the most part, this is all just a micro of units, and that was really nice there by HeroMarine. Grabbing himself an additional one of those Cyclones. The problem is, though, yes, Cyclones are nice, but they also kind of fall off as soon as the game progresses to the middle stages of it. So they're nice to have, obviously. You can intercept medivacs, you can get all kinds of damage done with them as well. But they're especially useful, I would say, in the earlier stages of it, because as soon as the siege tanks start firing, these guys just die very easily. But obviously, it's good for HeroMarine to have them right now, and maybe they can help out over the course of the next couple of minutes. But assuming this game goes on a little bit longer, I don't think it's going to have too much impact on the outcome. Ooh, siege tank. There you go. Yeah, this is what I mean. You can just see these guys that just die so easily. They're very expensive, by the way. I think a lot of non-Terran players probably don't realize that these guys basically cost as much as siege tanks. They're not cheap. Third command centers, though, of course, on both sides. HeroMarine decided to go for his a little bit later. Can he sneak by? Yeah, you don't really want to... he's trying to trigger a response right now out of the blue Terran. At the same time, he's also marching here across the map. Jimmy over here, though, he's got his blinders on like a horse. He won't realize until he gets shot in the back, but at the very least, he gave the heads up right here for Clem. It's important. Already, though, that lock-on over there is actually beautiful. Auto turrets are going down as well. Interference matrix will be coming up as well, and HeroMarine is looking very dominant right here in game number 1, right? Decides to back off after taking, a whole lot of damage on his bio army. But I think that this very cute command center with the little polar bear, yeah, it's going to be forced to lift up. That looked absolutely phenomenal there for HeroMarine for just a second, and then he overstayed his welcome for like 1 second, and he immediately got gotten it. Game's hard, man. Vikings decide to land right now as well, which I love. Look at the splits right here as well by Clem, trying to negate as much of that splash damage as possible. And even though HeroMarine certainly had the advantage here earlier on, and now he decided to overstay his welcome just for a little bit. Landing those Vikings. A little bit of a risk, of course, because that air superiority is super critical, especially when there's Ravens out for the opponent, right? Having those available and having those Vikings out is super helpful, but I guess Clem decided, you know what, I need to get that third base up and running ASAP once again. I'll sacrifice a couple of my Vikings. And even though he's now going for a few medevacs, yeah, it's looking okay for him right now, for sure. 1-1 coming up as well on both sides of the map. You can see that HeroMarine definitely was planning on dealing a little bit more damage than he did, delaying his third base, but also his upgrades. Clem right now actually getting into a pretty good spot as well. HeroMarine blind on this section of the map, and this is difficult to break. I mean, he does have interference matrices, but do you want to use it here? Yeah. Once again, you don't want to stay here for too long. Because when you stay for too long, there might just be a bunch of Marines that will use their combat drugs and come running down that ramp. Okay, Clem decides to go back home. 4CC is going to be coming up here. 4CC is going to be coming up here as well. I love casting mirror matchups, especially just for, you know, looking at the production tab. It's always kind of funny to me how in sync a lot of these guys are. Look at the timings right here of the armories. Look at like even these additional production facilities and the reactors on them right now. Even though they've taken very different approaches here, and even though they've both taken a bunch of damage, the basic macro mechanics and the timings of things are, yeah, it's just like clockwork, you know? They know exactly at what point they're supposed to be acquiring every single one of these. 3 Marines should be better than 2. So these are going to be pushed back. I love this as well. Since both players have been sending out individual Marines to different locations on the map to intercept certain dropships and other things, they've now started sending out 2 Marines instead. I guess what you need in order to be 2 Marines. At what point is it just becoming an army, though? I guess the cutoff point is probably 3. 3 is already quite a lot. Anyways, 2-2 comes up at the same time here for both. So even though Clem was ahead as far as those upgrades went a little bit ago, yeah, he's looking quite stable right here, right? So he's got himself that 4th command center done. Same can be said on the other side of the map. And I mean, we are setting ourselves up for some high-level Terran versus Terran. This matchup, it can be over in a heartbeat, though. One misstep with a siege tank. I mean, the siege tank count actually, yeah. A couple more there for Mr. Clem. So that's something. I don't think you can land that command center, my man. You can try. He's gonna actually just try and break through this. He had so much energy actually on those Ravens that he can just use the interference matrix. HeroMarine is gonna try and kill as many of those tanks as possible. Siege tank here on the right side of the screen still helping out as well. Reinforcing Marines are coming up for Clem. And even though I was kind of doubting this decision making here, I guess it worked out just fine. As long as the Ravens live. The Ravens are so critical here. Yeah, as long as the Ravens live and they can shut down those units temporarily, it's all a-okay. So real quick, I always get this question. What exactly do the Ravens have as far as abilities go? So they've got 3 useful skills that are helpful in Terran versus Terran and actually in all matchups. First off, they have the auto turret, which you will see especially earlier on into the game. If it's like a, oh shit, he's attacking right now. I guess I don't have enough energy for the other skills yet, so I'll use the auto turrets. It's basically a little turret that you drop on the ground and it deals a bunch of damage. Secondly, they have the interference matrix, which temporarily shuts down units, including medevacs. But also, for example, siege tanks, which is where they're most often used in this particular matchup. And then they have something called the anti-armor missile, which coats the units that are affected by it in orange paint. It can also affect friendlies. And, look at the Marines, man, marching all over the map. Anyways, it will basically take the units that are affected by it, so the ones that are covered in the orange paint, it will make them take additional damage. So that's just, a quick rundown right there on those Ravens. They're super helpful. They're just very expensive, so you don't really want to lose them. If you can at all, avoid it. I believe they're like 200 gas each. Well, to be fair, Terran does usually have quite a lot of gas to play with, but yeah. They're definitely not as exploitable, I guess, as those Marines. As sad as that sounds. It is what it is. All right, 3-3 coming up. Man, we are in for a good one, I think, man. This is just game number 1, and you can see that these two players are very in sync. I've actually been hyping up Clem a lot over the last couple of weeks, especially. I almost feel like it's a given that everyone knows that HeroMarine is good, but never underestimate HeroMarine, man. Maybe he's not really making that kind of splash because he's been around since, like, literally 2010 or so. It's not like he's old, by the way. Yeah, super nice guy. Very good at StarCraft. Oh my god. Fleet Beacon coming up as well. Or a fusion core. To Terran Fleet. Professional caster, by the way. The Terran Fleet Beacon is coming up right now. So that's usually used in this particular matchup to get the Liberator ranged upgrade. So Fleet Beacon coming up here as well for HeroMarine. The Terran edition, that is. Oh my god. Are they chasing medevacs with medevacs? Very nice. Once you have that air domination, and you have that air superiority, switching to Liberators is super nice because you can use the anti-ground mode to force your opponent to unsiege. Terran versus Terran is kind of like a puzzle that's being played in real time by both players. Isn't it sick? I love watching this matchup. Really not a fan of playing it because it's super hard, but... The funny part about Terran versus Terran as well, and like ladder heroes in the comment section can probably acknowledge this, but the funny part is, in Terran versus Terran, if you're not very good at microing your first couple units, you may just lose by the 3-minute mark. Okay, maybe not, but like the 5-minute mark. A lot of games on the ladder will end by the 5-minute mark, either because of cheese, or because of like a little bit of miscontrol, or because of cyclones. Just there's a lot of different ways in which you can accidentally lose. And it's kind of fantastic. I don't know exactly what this siege tank is doing over here. Good splits there by Clem. A lot of command centers acquired, though. We're getting to a split map scenario here pretty soon. Yeah, the Viking count here for Clem is ginormous. He's got 18 versus 14 here of HeroMarine. So he could definitely start thinking... Okay, there's the anti-armor missile, by the way. So that's one way to nullify that difference. Anyways, he can definitely start thinking about potentially adding on some Liberators here into the mix as well. Yeah, numbers are still king. At the same time, Marines are stimming through the center of the map. They're going to head on over towards the 3rd base. SCVs can definitely take a bunch of damage as well, and since Clem is mostly maxed out here, he's not going to be able to get that many reinforcements down the ramp either. He wasn't producing there for a bit because obviously he was already maxed out. So he's not going to be able to clean that up very easily. Marines decide to stim forward to try and gun down a few of the Vikings, but of course those siege tanks in the back are going to make short work of it. Liberator over here dies as well, and those were very, very good Marine trades there for HeroMarine. But the main issue is that he really needs to clean this up. And I feel like he's taking a lot of damage here in the process. I don't think that Clem is getting to the position right now where he can break this, although, I mean, where's the siege tank count at? Yeah, it's still 10 siege tanks right here for HeroMarine. Okay, nicely done. HeroMarine microing a siege tank despite the fact that his command center is blocking all view of it, so I don't know exactly how he's doing it. HeroMarine also decided to load a medevac right there, full of Marines. He looked to drop those on the opposing siege tanks to try and deal some friendly fire. Anyways, Liberator here in the top right corner, also being a nuisance. Clem all of a sudden, even though this game was looking very even earlier, is now, yeah, a little bit ahead for sure, right? Okay. I don't think he's at a position in the game yet where he can just roll over his opponent, and he does need to be careful that he's not going to sit out here for too long, because reinforcing units are obviously going to be available. You can see as well, though, that Clem right now is moving on over towards the top section of the map. Both players almost switching away from those Marines entirely and just switching on over to mechanical units instead, which is awesome. We go from bio-tank into basically full-on mech with Vikings, Liberators, and siege tanks. It's so sick, man. I love this matchup. It can even go into battle cruisers from here, too, which, you know, would be cool. Yeah, so this zoning here by Clem is fantastic, right? Just denying the mining over here on that base for such a long time. And the armor missile once again available. I don't know exactly how well this fight is going to go, though, for the Frenchman. Yeah, the anti-armor missile does even up the numbers here quite a lot, so that's super nice, I think, for HeroMarine. The problem is, Clem is, while this is all going on, happily mining all over the map, right? So, at this point, HeroMarine is, for all intents and purposes, sitting at 4 base economy, whereas HeroMarine is sitting at like 4 base economy at most, whereas Clem at this point, I mean, you can look at the minimap, he's taken his entire left side of the map. So these kind of trades, they're not bad for HeroMarine necessarily as far as resources lost go. It's just, yeah, rough as far as income goes, right? Because if you look right here at the income, you'll notice that Mr. Clement getting quite a bunch more money here as the game progresses. HeroMarine actually dropping a couple of siege tanks. Okay, he's gonna try and set up a bit of a desperation move over here, hoping he would go here uncontestedly. Does manage to get the siege tanks in a decent position. Liberator actually now comes up as well. Vikings are forward, and he does break out of this. Some very high-level moves being done here by HeroMarine, and even though it felt like a bit of a desperation, he's now dropped mules as well, so he's once again, as far as economy goes, in this game as well. Whew! Man, these guys are good. Nice. So one thing you'll notice as well is that HeroMarine, when he was maxed out, added on a couple of additional orbital commands. So even though he took quite a few SCV losses during all of this, he can just drop those mules out of the sky instead. And it opens up more supply as well for a potential army, right? So the supply count actually, as far as the army supply goes, is dead even right now. Okay, here we go. Once again, Liberators decide to siege up. A couple of Marines stem forward as well. A bit of an awkward position, to be honest. Ugh, yeah, I don't think I like that move all too much, and neither does HeroMarine. He decides to GG out. But that game was very, very close. Alrighty, so game number 2. Hey, this time around, look. The little polar bear is on the main command center. For some reason, this seems to bug out a lot for me. I don't really know exactly. Anyways, game number 2, we find ourselves on the map Oxide. Oxide, not a map we see too often in the other matchups necessarily. At least as far as ladder games go, a lot of Zerg players have this map vetoed, and I know a lot of Protoss players aren't necessarily fond of it either. But Terrans, yeah, they don't mind it, right? I can imagine actually if you are a Terran player on the ladder, just because there's going to be a lot of Zerg players and Protoss players that will just straight up veto this map, you may only get Terran versus Terrans here. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing here. I haven't played too much Terran myself recently. I've always found Terran, at least for me personally, to be the hardest race to play. I'm pretty good at Zerg. I'm decent at Protoss. My Terran, though, yeah. I have reached Master 1 with Terran in the past. But for some reason, like, here's the thing, right? When you're making, okay, when you want to play high-level Terran, and you'll see it with both of these players, for example, you want to have X amount of production structures And you want to be producing, ideally out of all of them, 100% of the time, without ever queuing up, right? Because when you queue up money, yeah, technically speaking, you're bringing your money down, right? And you're obviously going to lower your amount of resources that you have. But it's wasted, right? It's not actually a value that you're creating for yourself at that point in the game. So ideally, you have 100% uptime on your production structures. But you don't actually want to queue very often at all. You want to queue as little as possible. I see a lot of Terran players out there saying, oh my god, Lowko, I am in Masters 3 and my macro is impeccable. And when you actually like look at their replays, you'll see, you know, they're actually queuing up units a lot. It doesn't count, okay? If you have 100 minerals or I guess like 500 minerals in the bank to just select all of your barracks and queue up a bunch of marines, that doesn't count. That's not how this works. No, but I've always found personally that I don't know, I kind of struggle with the production cycle of Terran. Also, most of my... Okay, I'll be honest with you. Whenever I play Terran, I usually tend to play mech in all matchups. Just because the Marine micro and just the Marine splits and everything are also not really my forte and my best. I don't know. It's a difficult race for me to play personally, but I certainly admire it. For me, yeah, it's definitely the hardest one. Zerk is the easy one, but we already knew that, right? Zerk's so easy. Blizzard, please. Alrighty, so, a couple of adventurous Reapers moving forward. Let's see where they're gonna go. Ooh, a couple of Reapers actually on the left side of the map as well, scouting around. This could get a little bit awkward. Cyclone is gonna finish up, but what are you gonna do, Clem? Are you gonna send them back home? No, you're gonna go in for the counterattack, aren't you? Okay, one Reaper or one SCV Rodder ends up going down. At the same time, SCVs go into the main base. Both players are making Cyclones, but... just some high-level StarCraft for you guys. Both players losing a ton of SCVs and a lot of mining time here to just very small amounts of units. Alright, well, the Cyclone is going to pop here very soon. There you go. Just trying to maximize the deeps. Not bad. Alright, gets another one. Alright, so big picture, where we're at. Let's actually switch to that screen. It's a little bit easier to see. So, 8 SCVs were killed by HeroMarine. Or actually, no, were killed on the side of HeroMarine and 6 on the side of Clem. Actually, interestingly enough there, it felt to me... Huh. Clem definitely... Yeah, I guess he had his Cyclone out a little bit quicker, so he could shut it down a little bit faster as well. Felt to me that HeroMarine probably should have gotten more kills there. Plus, on top of that, HeroMarine actually also pulled the SCVs to try and chase down those units. So even though like this shows you that he's lost a little bit more, it doesn't take into account the amount of potential mining time here as well that has been lost, right? So, I guess that was a decent trade there for Clem, all things considered after all. Apparently HeroMarine now also a little bit concerned with the potential follow-up here of the blue Terran player, so he decides to go right now into the Cyclone upgrade, for the lock-on that is, or the improvement rather. Cyclones on the left side of the map as well. One medevac is chasing them down, so maybe they can go into the plane and fly on over towards the opponent's main. This could get awkward really quickly once again, though, because once more, we have Cyclones caught on the other side of the map, and both players being unaware of it. Hello, this is just like the Reaper situation all over again. What is this? Okay, so you go over there. What do you do with those? He decides to bring them back? Ugh. Got a feeling this is not really looking like HeroMarine's game so far. Like with good micro, right? Assuming Clem does not lose these units. Now, of course he doesn't. Ooh, he's got to be careful though. Yeah, the Magfield Accelerator upgrade is going to be indicated as well as a visual on the unit. So this Cyclone over here at the bottom section is going to soon press the button on the dashboard. Oh god. Ooh, I was going to say, he pressed the button on the dashboard right there for the little red lights. Beautiful little bit of micro. Okay. And upon losing that many SCVs, as well as now both of the Cyclones here that I think HeroMarine meant to intercept his opponent with, but obviously Clem can just micro those, right? He can just pick up the weakened units, and despite the lock-on improvement, yeah, HeroMarine, after losing the Cyclones, decided to call it quits. Alrighty, so, here we go. This song is a bit of a banger, by the way. I'm just gonna shut up and just enjoy. I sing a mean guitar. Actually, I said I was going to shut up. Sorry. Why is it that the Terran music in both StarCraft 1 and Terran music in StarCraft 2 as well is just much better than the Zergs and the Protosses? Don't get me wrong, okay? The Zerg music and the Protoss music, it's pretty good. But this definitely is a bit of a banger, isn't it? I know actually of a lot of people in Twitch chat that mentioned that they've got the Terran 1, 2, or 3 songs from StarCraft 1 as their wake-up alarm. So every morning, they wake up and they're like... No, seriously, the Terran music is fantastic. Maybe it's because the Terrans probably originate from Earth, right? Probably, right? I don't really know exactly the lore. But if that's the case, and this is music made by humans for humans, that would explain why we probably appreciate it, right? Whereas the Protoss music, maybe it's not made by humans, or maybe it is, but it's by humans thinking, oh my, it's what Protosses would like. And the same probably for Zergs. Yeah, Zergs, what do Zergs even like? Probably like slimy noises and, I don't know, other kinds of disgusting, I don't know. That would probably explain that. That's my theory anyway. Feel free to leave your theory as to why the Terran music is better than the Zerg and the Protoss. There's no dispute there, right? That's objectively a fact. Let me know your theory down below in the comment section. I don't think anyone can dispute that. Anyways, so yeah, we've had a pretty intense game number 1, very macro focused, and then a game number 2 that was all over the place. That's kind of what I meant when I said earlier as well that these games can end very, very quickly. We have a bit of a safer opener right now from HeroMarine. So broadly speaking, in this particular matchup, we have 2 different builds. So it's one where you go for the second gas guys who are a little bit later, and one where you take it a little bit earlier. So you can see right here, HeroMarine has gotten himself that gas a little bit quicker, allowing him to pump out the gas faster to get the factory, which is going to delay his command center, but it's going to speed up his tech. Whereas on the other side of the map, we saw just Clem going for a single barracks into a command center and then eventually a factory. So it's a switcheroo on the first couple of structures. Technically speaking, this build right here from Clem is a little bit greedier. You could see him go for an SCV scout just now as well, whereas HeroMarine knows with this sort of opener, he should be okay against everything. So he's even, yeah, not bothering with scouting in this particular one. This is a build that I like. If you feel like you can play better than your opponent and outplay them in the long run, I guess it makes sense that he goes for this build, because you can't really die to anything stupid. But, yeah, it's tough. It's very tough. Anyways, third gas is being acquired right now on both sides of the map. The third gas is super critical if you want to be making those Ravens. So without the third gas, it's very difficult to actually afford any of those Ravens just because they're super expensive. HeroMarine, though, decides to go for a single Medivac first here. Follows it up with a tech lab here as well on the on the factory. Okay. Pretty sure Clem is looking to go for the Raven first. Yeah, the music is fantastic. Honestly, this is true for all Blizzard games. I think actually music in general in game design is not nearly as highly valued as it probably should be. I know a bunch of companies, like, I don't know, maybe this is a personal thing as well, but at least for me, I can remember a ton of childhood songs. Oh my god, is he gonna spot this? He will. Beautiful scouting right there by Mr. Clem. It's got the Reaper on the Medivac. He knows what he's looking for right now. Anyways, I'm very good at remembering songs myself, even though it's a song that I may have not heard for like a decade. I can still, you know, even longer than that, like 2 decades. I'm old, man. Kid shows that I used to watch. Oh, is he gonna be able to get the command center? No, he won't. Kid shows that I used to watch. I can still remember all of those. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you may have not even heard the Terran 2 tune in a little while. Or what is it, Terran 3? Like, right? You recognize it immediately. I do feel like if you want to create a very, like, popular gaming franchise, having good music is actually super critical, because, I don't know. I think it's easily overlooked. I think a lot of gaming developers probably don't, like, they probably want to spend money on it, but it's probably also one of the things that you save money on the fastest. But I don't think you want to. Not that you have to spend a lot of money to make good songs, but you guys get what I'm trying to say, right? I do think music in video games is super important. And Blizzard has always done that really well. I think most of the popular gaming franchise, like Halo, you know the Halo opening music. How does it start again? Oh, I don't know. I'm not gonna try. I need a lot of reverb on my voice. Great tunes though. So we have mostly HeroMarine trying to be a little bit more of the aggressor in this particular game. You kind of are forced to do that whenever you play this sort of opener of his. But so far, he hasn't really gotten any real damage done. So, a couple of SCVs were killed on the other side of the map. Okay, now we have a drop inside of the main base. Okay, maybe this is actually what he's looking for. He needs to get some sort of damage done, right? And this... Okay, this is actually looking a lot more promising right now. Auto turrets are coming up. Ooh, okay. Big siege tank hit right over there as well. Nice control here by HeroMarine. Good target firing over there with those siege tanks as well. Hitting the centers of those marine balls. Is he going to be able to kill that siege tank? Okay, I think he will. No, just barely out of range. Clem did manage to kill one of the tanks there as well. He says, thank you. Okay, sorry. Eventually, though, he's going to be able to clean this up. But the problem is, right, at what cost? Okay, he's going to lose everything. HeroMarine, that is, but... Okay, big picture right now. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. I think that justifies the opener at the very least. Did misplace the third base, apparently, which is a little bit unfortunate. You have to make the lift of shame. It's the worst feeling when you play Terra and you realize your base is... And you have to lift it, and then... kind of sucks. Alright, I think that mostly levels the playing field here. Not like Clem is in a horrible position here. But at the very least, after his more eco-focused opener working out... Oh my god. Alright. After his more eco-focused opener, that definitely was nice. And yeah, while the Terran player in blue right now is being preoccupied over at the third base, I think you can go, my man. Yeah. HeroMarine is coming in for another one. Moving into the natural expansion this time around. Siege tanks once again in a very difficult to break position. Auto turrets are in range, okay. Don't know if that one was necessarily worth it. But this is definitely looking nice. No dominating advantage, but not bad at all. So the real advantage, I think, right now for HeroMarine is that he's got that tech advantage, right? And one of the advantages of the tech is that you can get your upgrades a little bit faster. So he did prioritize a single NG bay here, but just getting one additional upgrades here, like before your opponent does, is actually quite huge. Especially with the marine attack upgrades. They do a lot of additional damage, actually, even with just +1. So I don't know what the exact damage value of a marine is, right? But basically every single shot they fire is all of a sudden gonna deal +1 damage. Which, yeah, adds up very quickly in straight-up marine battles. Okay. Wouldn't be surprised if HeroMarine likes to try to fight here. Now, this could get awkward once more, though, because both players are unaware of the army movement. Well, at least they kind of know, but they don't know 100% exactly how much there is. 3 siege tanks here available for HeroMarine to defend at home. He's going to be able to kill that 4th base easy peasy. That's nice. Going to finish up his own 4th command center soon, though, HeroMarine, that is. He does have the base at the 12th floor taken, but it's not done building just yet. At the same time, Marines stim into the natural expansion as well. These are getting a lot of damage done. During all of this, okay, while the orbital goes down, 1-1 finishes up as well for Clem. So at the very least, he's going to be in a good upgrade state right now. I think you want to continue fighting. Yeah, HeroMarine decides to drop even more Marines right now over at the 3rd base. Those medevacs healing those Marines up. Stimpack is so helpful here. Tons of workers end up going down. A single Liberator here for Clem, but actually HeroMarine also floated that 4th command center away. This is a phenomenal position right now for the German player to be in. As long as he holds, right? He does need to hold. I think he's got enough Marines. Yeah, he's brought the rest of it home as well. So the ones that were on the other side of the map. The siege tank count for Clem is still looking quite high. The problem is right now, I mean, Clem is starting up another command center here, but... Yeah, already. HeroMarine recognizes what's going on. He scans right now as well to confirm that indeed this army seems to be retreating. He loaded up 32 of those Marines into Medivacs. Math in a video? Never again. Anyways, he loaded up a ton of units right there into the Medivac. Are there enough right now to break through this as well? There's a couple of siege tanks here too that just came fresh out of the factory. One will end up going down. Second one also goes down. And even though there are now those units on the retreat, once again, the command center gets cancelled. HeroMarine. I mean, he's probably going to end up losing all of those Marines. All of those Hero Marines, you might say. But they have already done their jobs. Gonna target fire down even a Viking. Didn't quite get it, but... yeah, you can see right now he's looking quite healthy as far as that army supply goes. Need to be careful, though. Don't want to overstep. Yeah, this is still a lot of siege tanks. Clem is still sitting at 7 of them in total, which is a nice advantage for him. If you just stim for the win right here, I mean, maybe it works out, but I do have my questions about this stim forward. Is that an overextension right here by HeroMarine? I mean, the army supply counts were surprisingly even during all of this. Sure, there was a slight advantage there for HeroMarine. Now, the siege tanks are in a bit of an awkward spot. Clem decides to lift one of them up, drops it inside of the mineral line over here, only to siege it up once again. Try and get into a little bit of a better position. +2 is finished up right now as well for those Marines. So once again, upgrade advantage here for the Ret. Oh, really? Thought that would be splash damage on the second one as well. Not quite. So it's the main command center right now that's utilized in at the Natural Expo. Look at his army, though. Yeah, HeroMarine just trying his very best to force his opponent out of this game right now. You gotta be careful that you don't overextend here, but obviously he's mining 4 bases where his opponent is mining 2, right? And that's... even if you trade absolutely terribly, a pretty good position to be in. 2-2 finishing up here for Clem. 2-2 also, I guess, done right now. Okay, for Mr. HeroMarine. It doesn't matter, though, because the game is already over. Alright, so real quick, just to visualize it. So this is 40 Marines going up against 40 Marines. The ones in red have no upgrades. The ones in blue just have the +1 infantry weapons upgrade. So here we go. No stim pack, no combat shield, nothing. Okay, so the ones in blue have upgrades. The ones in red do not. And this is just an easier way to visualize how strong those upgrades actually are. Isn't it nuts? It really adds up very quickly. Okay. Game number 4. We find ourselves on a Romanticide. By the way, that game mode, you can find it in the StarCraft 2 arcade, I think on all 3 servers. I'm casting this on the European servers, you may have already guessed. And I just was in the arcade on the European one, but it's called the LowkoTV Unit Tester. So if you search for that, you'll probably be able to find it. It's nice. You can try and basically make different kinds of armies fight each other, and you can even practice some micro as well if you have a friend joining you for the party as well. Alright, so let's see. Fast gas right here from Clem. I still don't know why he wants to like, the polar bear is cute, don't get me wrong. I don't actually know why there's not actually a Team Liquid clan tag. It seems like all of the people that are on Team Liquid, they update their actual nickname itself, but they're not in, like, I don't know, Clan Liquid? I guess it's not relevant, and I guess a lot of them may be requested to be, I don't know. You'd imagine it would be like Liquid Clem, right? That would make probably a little bit more sense. Like Mr. HeroMarine. HeroMarine, by the way, has been on mouse sports since, I want to say, literally forever. Can I have a quick look, actually? Liquipedia HeroMarine. I don't think he's actually been on another team, as long as I've known him, at the very least. Let's see. Yeah, so he has been part of mouse sports since the 5th of November 2011. And he's been playing this game actively since 2011. So he has literally been on this team. Yeah, for forever. Kind of interesting as well, because I don't really think they do a whole lot with StarCraft 2 anymore. Mouse sports, that is. Yeah, oh my god. So if I actually look at the Liquipedia page, I don't think there's anything happening in the game, right? Nah, there's scouts going on. If I look at the Liquipedia page, the last time they changed anything about their roster was back in 2015. So in 2015, Starbuck parts ways, Shaq leaves and joins something else, Majestic also leaves, and Hasu Ops retires from RTS to play Heroes of the Storm. But HeroMarine, still with him. And I can imagine someone like HeroMarine can get quite a few good offers, because he's one of the very best in Europe. He's got a lot of good tournament victories, or sorry, got a lot of good tournament finishes. He's had a couple of victories as well. But he's been playing the game for so long. It's kind of interesting how... sorry, was I chasing that one SCV there for a really long time? I was looking at the Wikipedia page. Yeah, I can imagine he had quite a few offers to choose from, but decides to stay with mouse sports. Okay, let's see. So, faster tech right here from Clem, as we already saw right there from the timing of that gas. Mule will be pulled away from the mineral line just because it didn't have enough juice left in it. Otherwise, it probably would have laundered some minerals, and we don't want that. Oh, okay. Very quick concussive shells right here from Clem. Think he wants to go for a little bit of a cheeky timing attack, eh? Matter of fact, maybe? Yep. So, he definitely plans on going for a cheeky timing attack. So in the duration, while you're researching the concussive shells upgrade, which is, by the way, a slow improvement for the Marauder, you can produce 2 Marauders. So if you start up the upgrade, you can make 2 Marauders perfectly and then load them into a Medivac as well. And you'll see that all of these units are going to be able to go across the map really quickly. Now, the nice thing about the Marauders is that when with the concussive shell, right, when they touch something, like, for example, a Cyclone, right, you can basically make it so they cannot retreat. You can pick them off every single time. All right, so here we go. Ready to roll out! Even though there's no siege tank. HeroMarine is patrolling back and forth over here, but not in the area where Clem is actually just moving through. There's a Widow Mine here at the front as well, a unit we haven't seen too much yet. Widow Mine's one-shot pretty much everything here, so including the medevac. So, bro. Well, it doesn't one-shot it, but it deals a lot of damage. Still think this is looking pretty good though for Mr. Clem, despite the fact that you know what? There's a lot of units actually coming from the main base. Despite the fact that he lost the medevac so easily. Marines do line up. Was that okay? Very explosive start right there, but I don't think it really mattered all too much. I actually would even not mind, I would not even mind calling this an advantage right now for HeroMarine, because he does have that second Raven out very soon, right? And he's going to be able to start accumulating some energy on this first one. Super helpful. Clem decides to get a little bit more adventurous, despite the fact that he doesn't know if there's really a Viking as a follow-up here. He still decides to just send out his first Raven as well to the other side of the map. I think actually... So the medevac, I mean... I said it would get one shot there, but obviously it doesn't. But the Marauders already were out of it, so it doesn't really matter too much anyway. It died pretty much as soon as the battle started. I wonder if with the medevac... I think so, actually. I think with the medevac added there into the mix, this probably would have been a win for Clem. If he would have not taken, like, the full-on damage right there by the Widow Mine. Not that he really could have avoided it either, right there. Right, so, yeah. I'm pretty sure... Yeah, he just took it to the face like a man. Like, yes, okay. Deal damage to my medivac, but at least I'll still get the units in. You also can't really delay it, right? Because even if like one additional unit pops out anywhere, out of the factory or the barracks even, it's immediately a much better scenario for the player in red that was being attacked here. Third CC comes up. This was scanned by HeroMarine, but he didn't see it. So he just saw the timing right there of the additional barracks, which will probably give him all the intel he truly needs, yeah. So you can see right here, HeroMarine opting to go for a faster third command center and then later additional barracks. Whereas on the other side of the map, Clem goes for the extra production. And even though he hasn't seen HeroMarine, that is, the third CC, he knows that it's probably there. Ravens. All the way to 12 o'clock position. Casual 400 gas flying across the map. Don't know why he's halting with them every single time. I guess he will see soon, though, that there's a big army on his side. Okay, this is a moment for HeroMarine to get some damage done. The only problem is that you also kind of need those units at home to defend. Okay, this is nice, though. At the same time, ooh, all of the Terran units here from Clem are loaded into the medivacs. He decides to drop behind the mirror line. And this is what I mean. When you have your Ravens caught on the other side of the map, how exactly are you going to break this? There is enough energy here for one interference matrix. Oh my god, HeroMarine actually sieges up that tank in the wrong spot as well. Ravens are going to try and fly back home right now. Yeah, they have a lot of damage, but... Or they dealt a lot of damage, rather, but... I don't know if it really matters. +1/+1 will be denied over here as well. HeroMarine will be able to finish up Stimpack here, but... Okay. Ravens going back into the main base. Just popping down one auto turret here to deny that mining time for even longer. At the same time, Marines, the reinforcements that is... Yeah, they're rolling on over towards the left side of the third base of HeroMarine. Eventually, this will be broken, right? But that is so many. Oh my god. Oh my. That's so many SCVs going down. It's not even broken. Ay, 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 ay. Okay. Big picture right now. Clem looking pretty hot here, hey? At the same time, actually, he's also pushing over at the third base. If he can kill the oh no. Oh no. Well then. I was gonna say, big picture, this was manageable. But now with that third command center going down and Clem already being slightly ahead, maybe even more than slightly. Yeah, this is rough. So now Clem, I mean, he's still the aggressor here, even though you'd expect HeroMarine to be the aggressor. I don't know exactly why he decides to push this aggressively. This is too much. Yeah, without the boost available, these medevacs are going to have a very hard time getting out of there. Loses more there than he needed to, for sure. Maybe a little bit... You know, a little bit too excited about the current state of the game, but... I think if you're Clem at this position, you just want to... Yeah, just mech her up, right? Just get more stuff. If you know that you are producing the exact same army with better upgrades off of, you know, 3 bases, and your opponent is doing so off of 2, the more time goes by, the better your army will become, or at least the bigger your army will become. Okay, now I do like this move here from HeroMarine, knowing very well that Clem is a rather aggressive player. Loads up a couple of Marines. The few Marines that he has inside of a plane, okay. Get some damage done on the other side of the map. That's the beginning of what could definitely be a comeback. Not bad. Very nice. So what exactly is the follow-up from HeroMarine gonna be? I think it's gonna be one big all-in. He did not remake an additional command center. I don't think this is something that Clem really knows. I don't know exactly when last time... Oh my god, he actually gets the interference matrices over here as well. Does he still have all those Ravens? He does. Yeah, that's the beginning of something, man. So he got some damage done on the other side of the map with the medivac. Right? And then he just now killed 2 siege tanks as well. Plus he still has energy on those Ravens too. Not a ton, but enough for at least, I would say, 2 interference matrices. 4th CC starts up right now as well for Clem. That is not the best time at all. I think that Clem is probably making the assumption right here that the 3rd command center was rebuilt. But I mean, that didn't happen. Okay, well, that's one free unit here as well. Nice cleanup there by Gabe. Okay, Clem does have a medevac of units out on the map as well. At the same time, HeroMarine, though, decides to now load his Marines, even though this was spotted inside of the medevacs. And he tries to see if he can potentially drop inside of his opponent's natural. Well, he's going to be able to drop. But the question is, how well will this actually go? Marines coming in from the back as well are going to be able to, at the very least, force some of that siege tank fire, okay? They're going to be cleaned up. Interference matrix being utilized right there on the tank as well. This is not looking so bad here for HeroMarine. 2-2 is only halfway done, so upgrades at this point in the game are, yeah, dead even, other than the concussive shells upgrade that we saw earlier. It's just that Clem, I mean, he's got a lot more units coming here than HeroMarine, right? So HeroMarine is on a bit of a timer. High ground advantage here as well in favor of the Frenchman. Good concave here too, man. He's dealing so much damage to his opponent's Marines. That being said, those siege tanks in the back have now got 11 and 14 kills respectively. A couple of SCVs pulled away as well from the mineral line to try and soak up some of that damage. And I'm looking at this Terran army in red. And it's mostly just medifex. I mean, reinforcing units are coming up eventually, but all that Clem needs to do is just hold on. Upgrade's about 30 seconds or so away from finishing. Once those are done, I mean, this army is gonna get absolutely blown up. So HeroMarine is gonna try and like shorten the path at which his I guess this is gonna reduce the travel time or something? I don't really know. This almost feels like he's processing the loss. Because I mean, supply-wise it's not even looking that bad. Yeah, I guess he's gonna be able to make it over here a little bit easier. I mean, unless he gets into a really good position. Okay, he does get actually in a pretty good spot over here. Nicely done. Command center will get cancelled. I mean, that is way too ambitious anyway by Clem. Going 5 command centers against 2 command centers. I almost feel like this is Clem playing with his opponent a little bit. Maybe he's misreading this ever so slightly. SCVs, though, once again pulled away from the mineral line, getting target fire down to siege tanks. That's a couple of tanks going down. Second tank right there on the right as well goes down. Siege tank, though, here at the bottom, still shooting away. But yeah, HeroMarine looks at this. He realizes that even if he kills the third base, somehow, some way, there's still another command center that he already spotted, and he's still gonna be behind. 2-2 just finished up here as well for Clem, so those Marines of his were just significantly more powerful. And just like that, what was it again? What was the French word? Do I still have it open? The Clement
Hebdomadaire.
The Clement Hebdomadaire continues. Wait, nah, doesn't really have the same ring to it. I'm open to suggestions, though. What should we call it if the big Gabe Weekly is going to be overtaken by Mr. Clem? Let me know down below in the comment section. Anyways, for now, thank you for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.